Hello, hello, hello. What is going on Facebook? What is going on YouTube? I hope you all have had a great weekend. As we take a moment on today to remember those who sacrificed their lives for us to be safe, the days that we go about our day, we truly don't understand the sacrifice of leaving family, the sacrifice of lives that they serve, that the service men, service women serve for us. So we remember, we take a moment to just say thank you to the families because they serve as well, they sacrifice as well. And to those who lost their lives, we offer definitely condolences to the family and to be thankful for the sacrifice of our servicemen and women who give their lives for us, that we be able to move about our days through safety and to be secure throughout our land. So welcome on tonight. I just want to start with a question on tonight is, do you know that you can still be bound even though you walking around free? As I talked about today, of the sacrifice that the men and women give for us, for we to have this time that we can move about our day with safety and freedom. But do you know that you can actually be moving around now and still be bound? Still be bound by your past, still be bound by situations, still be bound with low self-esteem, still be bound by depression, still be bound by anxiety, still be bound by financial issues. There are so many people. I remember when I used to do jail ministry, and that was one of the greatest opportunity to be able to go and minister to the men and women in the jail. And one thing that I remember, one time I was getting ready to prepare to minister, and I remember this guy said he was like, he was getting ready to get released. And so we were standing out getting prepared to go into the jail, and we were, telling him, congratulations, what it's like to be free. And one thing that this gentleman said, which has stuck with me even years down the line, is he said, ma'am, I'm free physically, but I've been free 10 years before I got out of prison. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true, because freedom is a state of mind. There are so many people that I've counseled, and I can just even be transparent and say, even for myself, you have the successful, what is perceived as a successful life. You have all of these things, but yet there still is something that's truly holding you back. And many a times we will give people a pass because we are taught as people of God to forgive. We're taught, to just let things go and forgive and let go. We're taught to be able to move on forward. All of these things that we're taught, and we'll hear this thing of, forgiveness is for you and not for them, and you wait and you walking in unforgiveness, you're drinking this poison, and but you're waiting on them to die. It's like so many things that I've heard, with the cliche of forgiveness and freedom, that sometimes we will give people a pass because we say that we have forgiven, because we are supposed to love people. We're supposed to not allow our past to hold us back. But we in turn give them the key, let them out, and then we go into the cell and just lock it. There are so many people that are still bound by things that happen, by being bullied in school, dealing with situations on their job, marriage, broken relationships, people that have hurt you, people that have said things to you, and you feel like, okay, I should have forgiven, but it's still a knock. You try to go for that next job and you're here, you're not good enough, that's a knock. You going and you said, okay, I'm going to start this business, I'm going to start this ministry, and then you start dealing with imposter syndrome, it's a knock. Whenever you deal with issues and somebody does something as a reminder and it begins to start triggering you, it's a knock. So what does freedom really look like? Because people will say, I want to be able to be free from the past. The main thing is, it may be a thing that may be a thorn. Talk about when Paul talked about, whenever I try to like get away and I have asked God to turn this thing and get this thing away from me, I want to be able to be free, but it is a thorn in the flesh. You think about people that talk about a thorn in the flesh. That's what they're essentially talking about. It's a thing that is a consistent reminder that I have a weakness. But what we have to remember is that when we're talking about being in freedom, when we're talking about, walking in forgiveness, when we're talking about being able to really open up, not only just give them a change to be able to walk on forward, but we also begin to release the change from our lives to be able to be free, is to not allow that thing to continually overtake me, but I have to overtake it. This takes work, because many people can still deal with some form of anxiety, but are you allowing that anxiety to push you further, or are you going to allow it to hold you back? Are you going to continually push on through? Within my family, we have I'm from the country, so it is just what it is. They call it bad nerves, right? And everything sometimes is a worry, a exaggeration, and constantly a thing of that be on your mind, and hard to really move forward because of the constant think of worry and concern for other people. And you begin to carry that weight, and you begin to say, okay, how can I really truly function? If I say that I'm truly trying to live out this thing and be free, I cannot allow worry to overtake me. I cannot allow it. So I will overtake it. So how do I overtake it? When you say, Michelle, what does this really look like to be free? When I say I want to forgive, what does this really look like? When I say that I want to move on forward, and I really want to not be bound by these thoughts that's trying to continually hold me back, I constantly procrastinate. But procrastination is another form of anxiety. What is it, Michelle, that I can do? I cannot allow for that thing to control me. I've got to take control of it. I think about sometimes whenever, and I'm a single woman, so whenever children are around and it's like, ooh, I'll be like, oh my gosh. But then you see the mother, like, even in the chaotic situation, they going around running and playing. She's so accustomed to it that she's just able to maneuver and still do the things about her day. She's able to say, Johnny, sit down, Beth, do this, da, 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 da. She's able to still manage things, cook and clean and all these things, even while the children are doing things. This is how you have to handle life, because situations are going to come. Life is going to life. Things are going to come. People are going to try to take you off your kilter. Situations are going to try to take you off of your path. But you have to continually stay the course and stay in the road. I may have to veer off and do this here, but I'm going to stay forward, and I've got to stay focused. We have been a generation that loses focus quickly. So if it does not work this time, I'm going to try something else. But do you not know, when you think about the Dyson vacuum cleaner, that the creator had to try that thing about 5,000 times before that thing worked? We have to be consistent, because he knew, as I have on my shirt, this is my purpose, and I'm not going to allow what my purpose is to take me off of the setback, to take me off of the things. But we tend to allow those situations sometimes that when it comes, oh my gosh, I'm going to go into this hole. I just want to crawl up. I don't want to deal with people. They have hurt me. That's why I'm going to be in isolation. That's why I can't open up myself to the next person. That's why I can't have this next friend, because they betrayed me. We want to just crawl up and say, oh my gosh, this is this financial issue. So I'm just going to go back to what's familiar. I'm going to go back to the alcohol. I'm going to go back to the weed. I'm going to go back to, smoking. I'm going to do all of those things. I'm going to go back because this is what has been comfortable for me. Are you willing to allow yourself to push through the adversity, to push through the friction to be able to get to that place? Because I may veer off, but I'm not going to allow for it to have me to come down. I have got to say to myself, self, you are greater than this. Self, you are better than this. Self, you are an overcomer. Self, there is greater in you. Self, it happened to you, but it's not who you are. I don't care. Yes, they mistreated you, but that does not mean because they mistreated you, that's the way they see, but that's not who you are. Walking in this place of freedom, what does this really look like? What does this thing? I have to say, no longer will I allow my daddy issues to control me, that I'm not able to have healthy relationships. I will go get the therapy. I will do the necessary work. No longer will I allow my mom issues and her and I having these conflicts to hold me back and think that I'm not good enough, but I'm going to continue to move forward. No longer will I allow these situations. So I will speak. I will do what I need to do. I will go get the therapy if I need to get the therapy. I will have these necessary conversations that I need to have. I will set the necessary boundaries that I need to set and set them up. I may be in this thing because I will tell myself sometimes, I will have to tell myself sometimes, Michelle, wake up and I want you to try again tomorrow. Today was like one of those days. I want you to wake up and I want you to try again tomorrow. I just want to encourage someone today to say to you, I want to say to you to wake up, try again tomorrow. Troubles do not last always. We don't have to stay in that gutter. We don't have to stay in that pig pen. Yes, that marriage may be horrible, but I have to set the peace within myself. So when I set the peace within myself, I'm going to be the game changer in my home. I'm not going to allow whatever my husband or my wife says to take me off because it's a trigger for me. I'm not going to allow what my boss says to take me off and put me back into the cell where I am still bound by the low self-esteem, by the depression, those negative thoughts, those self-defeating thoughts leads to self-defeating behavior. This is a culture that celebrates toxicity. But do you know toxicity is toxic? Whenever you see that, I remember when we used to have this thing and you used to see this sign and it was this bone skull and you would see the bones going through and it would say toxic. It would let you know that it was toxic. Living in a life of toxicity is sometimes someone's function from day to day. They wouldn't even know how to, do you even know how to function in something that is healthy, right? There were times wherein I had gotten so accustomed to relationships that were unstable that when somebody came stable, I was like, what in the world? Who are you? I got to do something to kind of shake it up and bring some fire into it. That was because my mindset was still in the past of what I have experienced, what I have endured. So this was survival mode, not true living mode. There are many people that live off survival mode and not in true living mode, meaning you're surviving just to be able to make through. You're in a relationship that you know that you're not happy in, but you're staying in. You're in a marriage that is dry as a biscuit that's been sitting out for a month. It's just dry like the Sahara Desert, but you still staying in that place. No one is doing the work You're at a place where you know you need to be doing better. You know that you have a greater purpose in you, but you're still sitting in that stale place, like stale water. And the water now is just building up with flies, all of those things that is stale. We are supposed to be a people of constant movement, constant growth, not just surviving. You think about that show Survivor, they're just trying to figure out how to get through from day to day. And sometimes people are just trying to figure out how to just work this situation. How can I just for now going to just try to work this thing out, wherein you're not truly living. And it's not because you have the money, because people who have money still are trying to survive. They are still at a place of brokenness. They're still dealing with mom issues. This is why people still commit suicide, and you'd be thinking they had it all, but they still had nothing. This thing that I'm telling you about is priceless. When I talk about being a woman of purpose, when I'm talking about being a man of purpose, that when I wake up and every day that my feet hit the ground and I wake up, I'm waking up with a new start. I'm waking up thinking about what can I do for this day to be a service for someone, that I know the situation is going to come. I know I may have times when I'm going to cry, but I don't care if I got to crawl, roll, or whatever, or scoot, or do whatever I need to do. I am going to continually move forward. I cannot allow myself to stay at a place of stagnancy, to stay at a place of not being free, to stay at a place of being broken, to stay at this place and allow what people have done to me to say they're going to control me. No, I am going to take control. I make a choice. This is why so many times people be like, well, why God won't take it away? Well, why you won't give it to him? Because we will say, I want to give it to him. We will say Matthew 11, 28 and 30, when he says, cast all your care upon me because I care for you. Give me all your burdens and I will give you rest. But we still hold on to it. We're walking around carrying all this weight, all of these things that we carry from day to day. But we say that we want to move forward, but we come back, we start a New Year's resolution. We'll block that person, but we'll unblock them. We'll say that we're done, but we still going through. So what is it that you really want? How bad do you really want it? This is why the story in the Bible of that woman with the issue of blood, you go back and read about her. Google the one with the issue of blood. She dealt with that thing for 12 years. Listen, I can only imagine 12 years. I don't even like to deal with menstruation now, so I can only imagine. For days, 12 years, and you dealing with an issue of blood. And then back in that time, you weren't even able to really be out how we are able to be free. We talking about woman power and doing all this stuff, whatever, with these commercials and all this stuff. No. You supposed to be in isolation and allowing this thing to work on through. But she went to doctor after doctor after doctor, and she did not give up. But when she heard about this man named Jesus, she broke every protocol. She broke down everything of what society told her to do, or what she should be, where she should be doing, be up in the house. She broke everything that she thought of what people should have said about her. She didn't even care, because she said, if I can just get to the hem of his garment, I know if I can get to the hem of that garment, I will be made whole. And she had to crawl in a low, deep place. Do you really want to deal with those deep issues so you can be healed? I had to go through some rough self-talk, some rough cleansing, some rough conversations to get healed. I had to go to that deep place that said, oh my gosh, I thought that I was done with that, but it came back up. So now I need to start dealing with that, because I will not allow in this season for it to hold me back. Because what we don't realize is, if you don't deal with this issue, it's going to affect you in other areas of your life. This is why when we talk about mind, body, and spirit care, that if you don't take care of your spirit, man, it's going to be broken physically. If you don't take care of yourself mentally, you're going to feel some way physically. That is why stress, depression, all these things, sometimes people deal with aches, pains, other physical issues, physical ailments that arise because they haven't dealt with the core soul of a person. This takes work. But are you willing to break that protocol that says, I am going to be this woman of purpose. I'm going to be this man of purpose. I'm not going to allow this time and this season to hold me back. I'm going to be free. Freedom may look like walking in forgiveness. Freedom may look like being uncomfortable, but I do know that even in my uncomfortableness, I'm being stretched. That's the great thing about it, is when you feel uncomfortable, that's how you know a stretching is happening. I'm a person, I downloaded this class that will teach you about stretching. And one thing about it is when I began to start doing it, oh my gosh, I was like, my muscles were like, girl, what in the world are you doing? Oh, it hurt at first. But now I can't do the side split yet, but I could do like a little full throttle there. I could do it. I was able to get there because I allowed myself to be stretched. And so if you say, Michelle, on tonight, I want to walk in freedom, allow yourself to be stretched. Allow yourself to be stretched beyond measure. I'm going to talk a little bit about that stretching. That's going to be another video that I'm going to talk about that stretching, because when you allow yourself to be stretched, that's when the capacity of newness can come inside of you. That's when you can begin to start accepting a peace. That's when you begin to start learning a little more about yourself. That's when you're able to be open to so many other new possibilities in life, because you allowed yourself to be stretched and you are taking off those chains off your hands. You cannot move freely whenever you are bound. You may try to lift up your hands, but it's only going to go over so far. And if you have them bound behind you, you're not going to be able to fully move. You're not going to be able to fully operate. But walking in this freedom is able to be yours today. But doing that inner work, and you cannot save everybody, but you can do the work in you. Yes, it's not easy. Yes, there are inner workings that you have to do. Yes, I don't care if you got to sit on somebody's couch. I don't care what you need to do. Do what you need to do to be able to get to where you need to be. Do it healthy though. Now don't be going around getting all this unhealthy stuff and saying, I'm gonna call, because that's, because sometimes we'll do too those quick fixes, those things that feel temporarily good, those things that give that high for that moment, but then when you wake up the next morning, still the same thing. Same thing. There's nothing like whenever you're smiling, when you see this smile today, the thing that I'm so happy about is this thing is real. It's not one of those things where I'm trying to fake it to make it. This is really real. And I was even thinking on the other day, I said, God, I thank you that you had to break my heart to mend my heart, and things that I thought that I wanted subsequently went away. But I see that now, even through that, it taught me some things about myself. It taught me about boundaries. It taught me the need to not to save everybody. It taught me to love on me a little more, and to not allow myself to be bound by the culture, to be bound by what society is or the trends. Be a trendsetter. Be that person that's different. As I said one time, I said, you bring the razzle dazzle. This is why you were created. But life happened. It hurt. You're frustrated. Yell, scream, cry. But dust it off. Wash it off. Because it's going to be a new day. A new day is coming. All right. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And then also, this shirt, I really, really love it. I got a lot of compliments on this shirt when I was wearing it out, but it's a Woman of Purpose shirt. Let me show you all. And this shirt came from one of my vendors for the Pajama Day party, Purpose Tees and More. I want to give a shout out to the owner, who is also my sister. So just go ahead and just check out some of the great quality products that she has. Also is having a women's brunch that is coming up in August that I will be a part of. So if you want to get your ticket, I will have it there as well for you to join me in Charlotte, North Carolina on August the 17th. We're going to have a good time. And this is for women again. I mean, I know y'all come to me. Y'all don't come at me. And I love you all too. I love you all too. And I promise you, we will be having some things for the men. We're going to be inclusive. We're not going to be excluding y'all out so much. But, you know, it's time for some girl time now, right? So have the link there to purchase your ticket. Also check out Purpose Tees and More. Great vendor, great products, great quality. This has been washed several times and it still looks good. Still looks good. And I love it because every tee comes with a positive message or something behind it. That's what I love. I love it. I love positivity. I love shifting the narrative of sometimes of what we receive so much in life. So you all have a great rest of your day, your night. Please be sure to like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share with your friends. And as always, as I always say, that you can always begin today to begin a new start. And as always, walk in purpose. See you all